Hello and welcome to UK Versus. I know that they're currently still wrapping up the Denver regionals, and we don't usually stream during Denver regionals, but let's gear up because this is a very special stream, and I'm just at a laugh because I put into the Facebook groups to come say goodbye to Richard, and immediately Mike Hardiman commented going no.
Obviously. I mean, that's Mike.
But that leads into a very somber moment that this will be Richard's last stream for a while. I don't know if you're still going to supply me with some debt lists or other kind of content, or if you're going to just take a break entirely, maybe even do your own thing. Who knows? But I would like to keep the work going, but I know the stream is a lot of time for you. You've been doing it for 2 years with me, and I am a lot to put up with. So before anything else, just thanks for encouraging me to start this, because I was just every so often in the group chat just saying we should really start content. You just kind of just went, shut up and do it then. And
yeah. So yeah, obviously as Brett mentioned, I did obviously put a thing on the Discord. Yeah, so this will unfortunately be my last stream. So yeah, I'm stepping away from UK Versus. Mostly I'm utterly sick of the sight of Brett, and I've had enough of him. No, not at all. I'm not feeling it really. I'm just like, and I don't want to half-ass doing this stuff because it just feels disingenuous. And just if I'm gonna do the content creation thing, then I want it to be something that I sort of believe in and am enjoying and having fun with and want to be doing. And like, I don't want it to become like almost like a chore. So it just felt best just to step away. And like, again, as I said on the post, like never say never. I'm not saying I'm not going to come back to it. I'm not saying I won't say rejoin the pod at some point, or I won't sort of pop up and sort of provide a video every so often, or I won't necessarily maybe go off and do my own thing or something with someone else. I don't know. Like that's just the future, and I have no idea. And part of that is because obviously I've got a lot going on this year. Getting married in June, that takes up a lot of time. Boy starting his GCSE, so there's a lot going on. So it's just one of those things of like, it just felt like the right time to step away, and sort of rather than get to the point where it gets too far and I should have gone a lot earlier, if that makes sense, rather than sort of leave it too long. Yeah, so it just felt like the right time. And yeah, obviously it's been a long journey of the 2 years of doing this stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. I never would have believed I would have been doing like content creation and getting flown out to Las Vegas to be in like a content creator summit, and that just sort of, it's still a bit ridiculous to me that that's sort of a thing that I did. The upside is like my locals won't be able to take the piss out of me for being a dirty content creator anymore. And by my locals as well, I also include the boy. But yeah, no, it's like I say, it's been great, and it just felt like the right time just to step away. And hopefully Brett can continue, whether that's like someone else stepping in or doing stuff on his own or what have you. I'll still be a supporter, but just won't be a contributor.
I mean, like I said, you're always welcome to drop me a debt list, or if you want to jump on and just talk about anything that you're passionate about, more than welcome to always be that. And like, I'm not, unless you like kick up with someone else or start doing your stuff, I'm not going to get rid of your UK Versus tag on the Discord, because even if you step away from the pod, you're still more than welcome to provide the debt list and get the stuff out there.
Still a founding member.
Exactly. But not only is Richard leaving, but my hair left as well. But that is for another video coming out, which I was well over dedicated to. But
so Richard's getting your hair in the divorce?
Pretty much.
I've got more than enough of my own.
But speaking of stepping in while Richard either has his sabbatical or goes and does his own thing and spends some time with the family, we are colonizing America as UK Versus, as Cameron, aka UVS Hermit, has agreed to step in either until someone else expresses interest in coming in, or hopefully in the long term. But I know you've got some trips and stuff planned later in a couple of months. But you've been a long time friend of the show. You've been on a lot, so it's great to have you here. But the name kind of doesn't make sense anymore.
It's UK versus across the pond.
Yeah.
That's what this little arc is going to be. At least
But
until
look,
Richard decides he's
they're
tired
still
of this
just a
dirty
colony,
yank up
right?
here.
They're an upstart colony.
That's just
That's
it.
what they are.
That's just it. But in that sense, Cameron has got his own content to do and has a life outside. So if anyone is interested, let me co-hosting. Do let me know. But I'm sure Cameron is more than happy to fill in for as long as possible.
Absolutely.
So we've had quite a lot of news, the stuff that a lot of people have done to death, as well as we've just had the Denver regionals finish up right now. So we can take a quick look at that before we get into the other stuff. As per our agreement, we have got a box of Heroes of Exandria that was sent to us as content creation. So Richard should still get his half.
It's only fair.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, so the sort of a little bit what I expected, I think, in terms of looking at top 8. Like, I think everyone sort of knew Nick Reagan was very strong. So I certainly expected at least one in the top cuts. I think the fact that 3 out of 5 converted, given he can be a bit hit and miss sometimes in terms of his consistency, but he is just very, very strong, right? So the fact that 3 out of 5 converted was a little surprising, but not crazy surprising. I think Rodan being there and obviously eventually winning the whole thing isn't a surprise. I think like Rodan got some really, really solid pieces. So things like Science Bros, which I assume Andrew was running, but obviously Sweeping Daggers is probably the card of the tournament, maybe. And just some other really nice pieces from Critical Role. And Rodan's always been good. And we feel like we're in a bit more of a blocking matters format, which is a good thing. So in that sort of a format, Rodan's going to be really strong. And combined firepower is still bonkers. We've then got Caden, who was basically playing the same deck my local Harry, that's his last weekly shout out from me, was playing. So not the sort of Broberg version of Hanji. This is I'm going to kill you on turn 2 Hanji with like Sweeping Daggers and like Battle Or releases and just value attacks and combined firepowers and all the Death Casino triggers and just the amount of damage that thing can put out. Like I remember practicing for nationals against my friend Harry's version. So him playing into my pony, I think I might have won 1 game out of 20. It does a ridiculous amount, and like Colossus SWAT in that character is really strong. So yeah, I think Handy is just a very good character, no matter whichever you do it. And then a bit of a told you so to Brett, who wasn't a Tarian believer. His character's good. The powerful 5 move in that character's good. Like turning the boat or sideways for 6 speed or Badgie for speed. Again, those are all really good things. And then obviously we've got Justin on Mitchell going all the way to the finals. Again, both of these champion characters are really strong. Obviously, Justin was playing a very odd build in terms of it was a very low attack count, and he was almost playing a combo deck where I think he was doing things like Quim tasking his own attacks out of his deck, so he sort of always had access to them, was like tutoring them.
Well, Quim's task lets you get ones yourself and get your opponents, so it doesn't really make a difference. But yeah, quite well. I mean, not Mitchell. The Mitchell deck doesn't really need to see that many attacks. What it needs to do is have those attacks hit, because you're always going to be seeing those attacks, and guaranteeing those builds is very good. And the way that Justin was utilizing that momentum meant that he was always going to have those attacks. The main issue, especially against a Rodan with the 7-hand and very defensive, is once you give away what your zones are, if you don't see VME, you are not going to touch Rodan again.
Yeah, it's very much he needs to get the engine going, right? Once you get the engine going of those Patchwork Babies, Ice Wall, Heaven Piercing Ice Walls, Walk the Dogs and stuff, and just sort of you're looping them turn to turn, it's very strong. I think it's just getting that foothold of getting into it, and that's what he couldn't do against Andrew. Like, I didn't fully watch the games. I was sort of dipping in and out a bit. But yeah, it felt like, if you're trying to maybe land 2 or 3 attacks in a turn and then loop those turn after turn, Rodan's going to eat that for breakfast, right? He can happily block 2 or 3 attacks. Obviously, it was a heartbreaker. Like I was really rooting for Nick to win the first regional after Nick Reagan is legal with Nick Reagan. That just would have been the perfect Cinderella story. Obviously, just didn't quite check the 5 on the Besiege for lethal. But again, just showed the strength of that deck, right? You know, that he was almost in a sort of unwinnable situation and got there. There was even like the game previous where he just lost, where he played to his 1 out on defense, which was to do the Nick Enhance, draw a card from a supersonic flight, and have that top card be a true 100%. So he did the top 8, didn't get the supersonic flight, and sort of cycled midway through the top 8. The supersonic flight was in that, and then did the rest of it, didn't draw the card. His top card was a true 100%, which was like a crazy. He played to his outs perfectly and didn't quite get there. So yeah, it was a really strong showing for Nick, and I think shows how good that character actually is.
They're both absolutely nuts. Cameron, how did you feel about the showing? Is there anything that you were surprised seeing there?
I've got the top 8 pulled up, so let me look at the actual meta breakdown. I was surprised to see so many Ghidorah.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to see as many of him. I did see that we had like 4.8% Byakko. I'm a little surprised that's not more. With some of the Earth stuff that we got in Critical Role, I knew that Byakko was going to come back with
4.8 means there's only like 4 of them in the entire thing, which isn't a lot.
Yeah, because like even we had like what 80 odd people, so like 6% Nick Reagan was 5 people, right? So 8.4 King Ghidorah, which I'm assuming meant that was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Like you know, none of it's obviously a very diverse meta, right? When we're coming into this with those are the biggest numbers. King Ghidorah being top of the pie chart was not what I would guess. Just losing whatever the card is that bounces an attack.
Dissolving the conflicts.
Yes, losing that I felt would have been the reason people would have gone off Ghidorah, and like especially in the new format, aggro decks in like card games in general tend to be where you want to be because they tend to be the easiest to solve early in a format. Control decks, you know, once you know the threats you're going up against, they become a lot easier there on. I guess King Ghidorah has a bit of a like maybe it was a meta game called, maybe expecting a bit more Dekus, a bit more kind of one punch decks. You know, people like putting a bajillion damage, you combine firepower on 1 attack, and King Ghidorah says, well, that's fine, you took a head. Whatever.
Yeah.
So he's got that natural inbuilt kind of defense against that, so maybe that's why. And it might just be a case of people just love King Ghidorah, so they're playing him, and you know.
He's hard to kill. You got a lot of defensive pieces from Critical Role, and still gets to play a lot of powerful attacks and abilities. But it's that aspect of you can't just get one-shotted. So I think people are still expecting one-shot Deku to be floating around, and Nick Reagan kind of everything goes into this one big attack. It's like, cool, you just got rid of one head. I'm going to now get you on the backswing kind of aspect.
Yeah. And like Emir being up in the pie chart, not a surprise. The fact that none converted, maybe a little bit of surprise, but also I think where she's lost, you know, some of those key pieces, like basically new training method, I think it's maybe take a little while for people to get the right builds for her again, and maybe get used to playing her without that kind of being able to basically cheat with new training method. So I would expect her to still be a very relevant presence in the meta. Grog, I'm not really surprised he didn't convert. I think Grog's like fine. I think he's almost like, in my head, he's a worse Godzilla, which might be downplaying the character a little bit. Again, probably a character you need a little more time to get perfect, but I'm not hugely surprised Grog didn't convert. And the same with Godzilla. I think people are just sort of ready for those decks these days.
I think the issue with Grog is it's a great one for the early rounds, but the moment you go into people that are the hardcore players that have been testing every matchup, when you get to those later rounds where you're against your Brobergs, your Nick Reagans, your Andrew Parts, your Justins, your Nate DeWalt's, the people that have been that hardcore test every matchup or hardcore understand the Grog matchup, and that they need to slow down and think a little bit more, not just rush in.
Yeah.
You then as Grog start to struggle because you're throwing everything at printed and you have no speed pump. You have nothing until they set up and go, cool, I can do 30 odd in a single turn. That's not an issue, and you have no defense on face apart from unblocked attack. So I need to do 40 easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once again, a really good showing for MGLA. Like I can't. So obviously, I know Justin and Travis. Obviously, I think Nathan. I think Nate is part of MGLA.
Yeah, I think Nate converted over.
I'm not 100% certain. Barlow might be, and Andrew might be. I'm not. Again, I can probably quickly check, but yeah, I'm not entirely certain who is and who
Well, I mean,
isn't. But like that,
if Hitch is still in chat, hopefully he can tell us if Andrew's part of which team. Nick Reagan, of course, being part of Final Round Gaming.
yeah,
That one.
yeah. So Justin is, Travis is, Nathan is, and Calvin is. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So for half of the top 8 being MGLA, that's a pretty good showing.
Andrew's not part of Let's Talk UVS. No, that's fine. Now, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, so Andrew's obviously Nick Reagan is final and fun round.
Yeah.
And then Caden and Barlow, I'm not sure, are sort of affiliated with a team, but yeah, like again, four from a team being in the top 8 is a very strong showing.
Depends on the size of the team and all that, but personal props have to go out to Rebby Lynn, another amazing content creator, who I believe spent the entirety of Swiss cosplaying Parcy whilst playing Parcy in 100-degree weather.
Yeah,
Andrew is part of Let's Talk UVS. So Andrew is part of UVS. Let's Talk UVS. That's a big cap for David Toombs and the team having the first regional go to that team.
Yeah. Yeah, Rebby was obviously playing Parcy, and I think was the only Parcy.
Yeah.
Cosplaying as Parcy, and obviously I did watch her stream game where she won 2-1, but actually won 3-0 really, because I think she got too caught up in the sauce of pressing the combined firepower buttons and then got hit by a barrier shield where she had the game won. But then just took the game out and just sort of adjusted and played a really great game on stream, and unfortunately obviously didn't get. I don't know how she ended up placing, but I think she did pretty well. I can quickly check where she came.
While we're just quickly checking, Cam, you did
28th is pretty good. Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah. You didn't get to take part in this regionals, but if you had been able to, what would you have been playing?
I don't know. I've been anyone who watches my channel knows I do like my last week Wednesday where I go over what I've been playing for the week. Half gimmicky stuff, half serious stuff. I've actually been toying around with a new way to play Godzilla that I thought was stupid. Like I had this thought and my brain started itching, so I was like, all right, I'll build it. I'll play it at locals. It won't do great. And I didn't drop a single game all weekend. I 2-0'd everybody in almost 15 minutes or less. And the only one that took longer was Mirio, because for 2 turns in a row, both of us didn't draw attacks.
Okay. So, was this sort of take on Godzilla was to not play City Rampage because it's cringe and not very good?
No, it was to play City Rampage into a bunch of backup and shift attacks.
Oh, I did when AOT 1 dropped. I did that at locals.
So I go City Rampage, knockdown blow into the
Attack Titan attacks or female Titan attacks?
Armor Titan Rushdown.
Ooh.
Armor Titan Rush is a dope one.
That's a good one.
Or Colossus Titan attacks, because if I go City Rampage, knockdown blow, and then on the knockdown blow commit Sean Gilmore, if I check a 5 on Colossus Titan attacks, I don't have to commit anything.
No. Mm-hmm. It is a shame we have lost Award the Victor, so you could go City Rampage, knockdown blow, hit with knockdown blow, pick up, put it on top of my deck, horrifying realization, pick up knockdown blow, play it again.
I do play horrifying realization, but I also play the Emerge Victorious.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I played against a Mirko.
Oh no!
And on turn 2, I had 4 foundations and Sean. Turn 2, I went City Rampage, knockdown blow, Emerge Victorious, picked up I think I picked up the Colossus Titan from that. So built that, formed, ripped the last 2 cards out of his hand, and then played the Armor Titan Rushdown, which got the +3 from the knockdown blow, and just blew him out of the water.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's dumb, but it's so fun.
it's honestly what I considered doing something like that for Worlds, but I was doing it under Reiner because then you can just like DR stuff. I've done it under Dabby. The shift attacks are just great, but I think they just cost a little bit too much. Godzilla's a great answer for the momentum. It's more the first place one too, but Emerge Victorious is one that Liam Chawner, former EU nationals, national champion, was talking about basically going for a Godzilla hand destruction backup build with Emerge Victorious, and so it's great to hear other people going like down those lines. I'm honestly go on.
Go ahead.
No, go on. I'll let you finish.
I said I had originally built this for my Pumat Soul Day Zero build, and I hate Pumat Soul. So I was like, what other characters can play this? And Godzilla is where I kind of started on. And yeah, I do play the female Titan attacks as not only a momentum hate, but I mean, if you can't get through 34 health, how are you going to do it when you're also skipping an attack every turn?
When you hate Smiling Soul, right? Do you mean the words on the character, or do you mean the character from the show?
The words on the character. I haven't gotten that far into Critical Role yet.
Nobody hates Pumat. Nobody hates Pumat Soul in the campaign.
But doing the Day Zero builds, I built him, and then when I built Tarion, I realized they were the exact same deck. So I had to go back and rebuild Pumat in the same day and figure out something different to play with him. And that's when I settled on backups as opposed to assets, because that's the only thing him and Tarion do differently. Mm-hmm. And I had such a migraine after building those 3 decks that I was like, screw both of these characters. I don't care.
A 4-check Pumat Soul deck that uses Titan attacks. What would we call this, Cameron? Because I've made this joke to you before.
Pumat Swole.
Pumat Swole.
But it does, because it plays the Emerge Victorious, and I can just rip those shift attacks off the top and either have them as the foundation that drops an attack to 0, or just hit the Colossus Titan or the Attack Titan attacks. And when Attack Titan attacks plays up as a 5 diff, you still get the boost from City Rampage and stuff like Eaten by an Abnormal, because you can just flip that for 1/1, and I was smacking people around, so that's really fun. So Godzilla is definitely in one of my in my stable right now.
But you didn't want to take Pumat Swole for a Pumat Stroll?
No, I don't want to see that character ever again. A buddy of mine bought a case and pulled an Alt-Art Pumat Soul, and both of us don't like the character. Oh. And he said, if you send me $5 right now, I will burn this on stream.
No!
I was like, you know what? I don't have $5 to spare right now.
I think he's super sweet. I don't think he's necessarily competitive, but I think he's super sweet.
He gave
me a migraine, so I have beef.
My issue with 4-check attacks right now is the other probably big story of the weekend, and the one probably everyone expected is that Sweeping Daggers won the tournament. You don't want obviously Knockdown Below probably isn't that great in Sweeping Daggers in terms of what it does, but stealing your Colossus Titan, making your Sweeping Daggers a throw, snagging 2 momentum, it's pretty good. Yeah. And so forth. So that card's obviously going to just sort of keep going up and up in value. It's our new true $100 punch, whatever it was, from Undaunted.
I do like the fact the stream switched from using the regular Patchwork Babies to the far superior April New Year Patchwork Babies.
I've got 5 of those on pre-order.
Yeah,
I wonder if mine have just shipped. It's weird. I got a notification about a delivery from abroad, and then that turned up the day, which was my Mitchells and Nicks and the other ones, the I Can Taste Sounds and the solo leveling art. Which one was that?
Death Rattle. Yeah, the AOT, the AOT alt art, that's solo leveling.
Yeah. So they all turned up, and then I got another email saying, "Well, another one due." So I'm like, I don't think I put in another order. So I'm wondering if these are the patchwork.
I got an email saying, "Oh yeah, you've been sent something from America." I went, "Cool." I was like, "Where is it?" "It's in Switzerland." "Why is it in Switzerland?" I messaged him back, "Why is it in Switzerland?" I went, "I don't know. That's a very good question." I went, "I know."
Yeah, so I wonder if it is the babies already, but yeah, we'll have to see on those. But yeah, sweeping daggers obviously very strong card. Had a very strong showing this weekend. Obviously, I know Andrew was running it. I'm pretty sure Caden was running it. I don't know if any of because I don't think Nick can run it, so it wouldn't have been them. I don't know if Tarry can or was running it at all. I don't think Tarry has Void, so
No.
no. But like all the characters that could have run it in the top 8 were, and obviously
I
we're
mean, you
seeing
could,
it in
but
other
you could
places
also
as
say
well.
the exact same thing for World's Weakest Hunter, because there was more World's Weakest Hunters in that final, in that top 8, than there was sweeping daggers.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, obviously Nick's the other big story, right, of just the success he had. But
Oh no, because
yeah, I
the
mean,
Rodan was running it too.
yeah, as well as oh yeah, Rodan as well. See, what
Yeah,
was as
Rodan was
well, yeah,
running World's Weakest Hunters as well, so there was a lot more World's Weakest Hunters than.
yeah.
And you get to draw so many cards off it with Rodan. The issue was that you
Mhm.
couldn't pump the damage, but now thanks to Science Bros, you get to
Mhm.
pump a lot of damage onto World's Weakest Hunter
Yeah.
as well.
But and that's I'm glad that we are seeing. Obviously, it's just day one, so or tournament one, I guess. So we'll have to wait and see how it pans out longer term. But one of my concerns when Critical Role was released was that the set was super sweet. I love a lot what's going on with the set. Like, it's an IP I can probably more gel with personally when it's because I've never been a huge anime guy, and this is sort of D&D, so it's really cool. But I just felt maybe the power level was a bit too low for it to have a huge impact. But we are seeing obviously a pretty sizable impact on the meta. Obviously, not everything is going to, but if we look at those breakdown, we've got 2 characters, so Gog and Tarion being represented there. We've seen plenty of cards sort of in those decks from Critical Role, and then we've got 2 Critical Role characters in that top 8. So that's just really good.
And we're going to see a
And
lot more, because I mean, Alora. There's ones like Alora which are going to take a little bit longer to get, really get the knack of, because this is 2 weeks after release.
yeah, exactly.
Allura and Vex are 2 that I'm really looking into building next for Critical Role. Vexalia and Allura.
Build a bear.
Yeah, build a bear and throw like 30 attacks on turn 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And Harry was
that
playing
deck is dumb.
Yeah, Harry was playing that locals of the day, just Hunter's Ally, Bears, the good backups, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think this will have more of an impact than maybe people were giving credit for. There was a lot of just like those little pieces, like just the simple things like that 1/6 chaos foundation is just really strong, and we'll just go in a lot of
Inspiring
depth.
song, yeah, inspiring song.
Yeah.
You get to mill some stuff, which is great, but
That was in the Godzilla I built.
It's not the best for facing off against Sweeping Dagger, but for
Yeah.
Godzilla and other ones that want to extend their strings or have longer turns, it's really cool. And again, it's also great tech against people like Krista that are still floating around, where you get to go, cool, you've seen what's on top of my deck, it's gone.
Yeah, it's just a modest spam with a lot of, again, it's none of the things on the card are crazy, right? +1 or -1 to a check isn't crazy. But it's a 1/6, right? It's got a not hugely terrible block. Sometimes the self mill can be relevant. All those things add up to just a really nice piece of spam that doesn't feel remotely oppressive or overpowered. It's just does a lot of nice things. So yeah, I mean, overall, I am liking the impact Critical Role is having on the meta. Obviously, it's going to take a while to settle down. We'll have to see whether Nick Reagan is truly a bit of a menace. Most people actually think he is, and might possibly do, to the point where I'm like, well, he does get to basically Storm of Blades in every attack, so I probably should just play him because it can be so much fun.
So Richard, you joined Critical Role. I know Cameron is also a Critical Role fan. In there, are you part of the other aspects of the fandom? Are you on the Reddits, the Facebook groups, like the Twitters and stuff?
No, I'm too old for social media.
Yeah, they've kind of lost their mind over this stuff. It's really cool to see. One person has made a brand new TikTok account to open packs of Heroes of Exandria there. Their first video got 5,000 views. And it's just them opening 2 packs. They also opened up a Chrome in their first 9 packs, which was amazing to see. They just lost their mind when they saw it, and people like, put it in a sleeve now. What are you doing?
Yeah, TikTok I think is where it's at if you want engagement, right? Like you just get numbers because that's what children do. That's what the younglings do these days. They just on their TikToks and what have you.
You've hit that
And their hippity hop.
The main
Yeah.
issue is we've hit that Venn diagram of Critical Role's trending because campaign 3's just ended, and now this is released. So anything Critical Role, it kind of blows up on everything. But even on the Facebooks groups and the Reddits, I'm posting my pictures of my polls, and I'm posting pictures of stuff like that. I've just got to the 2020 era of Critical Role where they skipped 3 months for the pandemic, and I was talking to people like, how did the fan base cope with stuff like that? And it's really interesting to hear what fans did during the pandemic. But there's been loads of people on Facebook that are just buying out product for collecting, and then once they start reading the cards, once they start looking at the cards, like, okay, now I want to learn. I actually want to learn to use these cards because they're really cool. One guy in America bought 3 cases just because he wanted to make sure he had all the alt-art characters and all stuff, and ended up pulling a Grog Chrome 4 boxes into his 3 cases.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably it's a good problem for UVS Games to have, right? I wonder if they're thinking, shit, did we print enough of this stuff? Because of the way the chromes are put in the packs, and because we no longer have like the first edition, unlimited edition, which is good and a positive thing. Effectively, these things have a very fixed print run, right? They can only print so much, and then unless they have a thing where maybe they hold back 10 chromes or something, like 10 random numbers.
I think they could do
a second print run or something.
I think they could do a second print run with no chromes in it, advertise it going second print run without the chromes, or even do 8 different chromes, because they've all got other characters from the second campaign they can do.
Yeah, they won't do that.
But
no, that's too much. But like whether they hold, I don't think they'll do it without them. I think there's too risky from a PR backlash from that.
Well, no, it's more of a, we're going to drop MSR, we're going to drop the standard price of them because there's no chance of getting a Chrome, and we're going to reprint it because of how the people buying it don't really care too much about the Chromes. The Chromes are just extra. The collectors, the fans I'm looking at, are just so in love with the alt arts enough. Chromes are just gravy. Everyone that's seen these Chromes, and when you look at like Lichar's Twitter, going through the breakdown of how he designed the alt art harness on Death is beautiful. Where it started, all the different things to go. The fan base and the artists and every aspect of this set has so much passion put into it from everyone. It's great to see, and I think they could easily do a second print one with 0 chromes, and the Critical Role fans would still go out and buy every single copy of it.
Yes and no, right? You could do, right? I think that's obviously a big financial risk for them to do if they don't sell it, and like obviously the way printing works is like this Critical Role set probably was printed at the printers like 6 months ago, if not more, right? So it's not like they're like, shit, we need more, let's print some today and we'll have it tomorrow. It's like, no, if we get some printed today, we'll have it in 3 months' time, and by that point the demand might not be there, so it's just not going to happen. So but I do wonder if this is one of those ones that's actually going to sell out very quickly, in terms of the warehouse will just be empty, there won't be any more, and that's it. Similar to sort of how we ended up with like the Dark Tournament Yu Hacker Show. It eventually got to a point where no, we're just out, we're done with it. And I wonder whether this will hit that fairly quickly as well, which would be a really good thing, right? Yeah. The fact they sold through of this product will be a really positive thing for them, and that would be great, especially if lots of people sort of that aren't like enfranchised players are buying it and sort of getting into the game. Which gets onto a sort of something that's possibly a longer subject, and maybe you guys could talk about another pod or whatever. But where there is an argument, and something I think we have mentioned before, an argument of the game being the X card game for sort of a year rather than 4 IPs over a year. Like imagine if they had this year being the year of Critical Role, and then say maybe next year's being the year of Turtles, or whatever, right? This year being the year of Critical Role, obviously these critters getting into the game and hopefully loving it and falling in love, and then all of a sudden, like, next set is Attack on Titan, right? Or next set is Turtles, and they're like, well, I'm a critter, I'm not really interested in these things, and they maybe fall off and don't worry. But as if there was like there's Critical Role set 2 coming out after that, and then maybe one of the sets is something out, and then after that we got Critical Role set 3, and if you can have that year of like actually buying them in, right, and they're loving the game, and now they're like, well, I love Universus now. I'm not just buying it because it's Critical Role. I'm buying it because I love the Universus game. And next year it's Turtles. Cool, I'll give that a bash. So I think.
But then on the other side of that, you have. So, say we did that. Say this year we had the year of Attack on Titan, and we start off with Battle for Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the worst received product we've had in a very long time.
It's risky.
If you start off with that, and you get the backlash, you get the people going, we don't want it, and you've then gone, well, we've put a year of work, design, and money into this, and then nobody responds to it. It doesn't bring in the AOT fans. It doesn't keep players. You lose more players because people don't like all the changes that you brought in, and you've got to wait another year. Sometimes that's a lot of money to pump in. Diversifying and going, we'll do one Critical Role set a year, makes a bit more sense.
It's absolutely a risk, right? I'm not saying it isn't at all. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm saying I think it would something I would, if I was internal to UVS Games, I would at least have the conversation and explore the idea of, right? Because that's sort of how this game got its resurgence from the old times, the dark ages, right? It was the My Hero card game for like 2 years. And that's where people bought on. Right? I came on because it was My Hero, and that's what the boy liked. And then I got sold on Universus. And a lot of people are the same. A lot of people got in because it was My Hero. And we lost some when when it was like we're no longer just My Hero, we're doing other things. But a lot of people just were My Hero fans and then stayed on because they like Universus. So I think there is value to doing that. And I think from an IP standpoint, I don't think Attack on Titan was the issue. I don't think anyone was bothered too much by the IP of Attack on Titan. Obviously, there were other issues more in terms of the words on the cards and the cards themselves and set size and all that malarkey with Attack on Titan 1, but I don't think it was an IP thing, right? I think if you can design sets like Critical Role has been designed in sort of any IP, then I think that is something you could consider. I think you have to get it right. And like I say, there is that risk for it. So diversifying the product over the course of a year is probably the least risky, but also maybe has the sort of lower ceiling, if that makes sense. Like it's a higher floor, lower ceiling sort of approach, which from a company perspective is probably correct. But it's just again, I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm just saying it's an idea that I think might have some sort of merit, right?
I think it was the correct choice, and we'll let Cameron because he hasn't spoken in a while after. So I think going My Hero for 2.5 years was the correct choice post-pandemic. Having that stability, having that identity, and bringing people in after we've just gone through an entire year of hell, and a year and a half at that point of hell and no games, no consistent events, and UFS being acquired, all the changes that had come in, and just going, okay, we're relaunching, we're rebranding, let's get more people in, was fine, but being locked in to one IP was a big issue, and having these episodic kind of sets that felt like seasons made it very hard for new players to jump in, because if they went in and we were like, I want to join the game, where do I start? It was like, oh well, Undaunted Rage just come out, it follows season 5. It's like, do I need to then go back and get the other 4 seasons worth of sets or something? Like, it felt like you had more obligations behind it, whereas
yeah,
the move away from that is a great one.
if you're like a My Hero fan, you're like, oh, cool, I'm joining in set 5. I'm a My Hero fan. I like the new set Undaunted Way. Cool. He's a Razorhead in this one. It's like, no, he's not. He's in the set a couple of years back. That's now just about to rotate out, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm not saying it's a perfect solution. I'm not saying it's something you definitely should do, but it's just like an idea.
How do you feel, Cameron?
Honestly, I can kind of see the argument for both sides. As someone who jumped into this because I like being able to mix and match all the IPs, and that's one of the reasons I've stayed clear of card games like Union Arena or Vice Schwartz. I love the mix and match because there's so many more options and opportunities for creative advancement. But I do see what Richard's talking about, like the stability of like, hey, we're gonna have 2 sets or 3 sets of this, so we can try to get those people on board, make them drink the Kool-Aid, as it were, and then they just love the game. But what I could see, I was looking, and as I was half listening, I was looking through their the news archives, and saw that on August 20.
Ooh, you go far back.
Well, I've been going through this for a while now. August 29th of last year, we got the roadmap for this year's set releases.
Yes.
And then there was another one talking about like how many sets they wanted to have per year and challengers. I can't find that one.
That was, I think, you know about Paul's Facebook post where he was saying that there's going to be 4 sets this year and 8 pre-constructed decks.
Okay, so it might not have been. Okay, and then going back, talking about like what's the second half of 2024, we got that in July. So what I'm thinking is if we got big IPs like Critical Role, because during my box opening ITs, I was like, hey, what if we got, we've got the 3rd campaign
Bell's Hells,
that we haven't touched yet, but what if we had a next set next year that was half Bell's Hells and half all of the villains of Exandria? So a villains of Exandria set, and may or may not be feasible. That's cool, but if they got a hold of an IP like this, and they knew it had a broad thing, and they knew they wanted to span several sets for it, make the announcement saying, hey, we got this one coming this year, set 2 next year. And that way you can give those people something to chew on, and not say like, hey, this is what all's going to be in next set, but hey, you're getting Heroes of Exandria this year, and in 2026, sometime, we're going to get Critical Role set 2. So don't worry that this is a one-off. There's still plenty to go, and we can do that. Or like with solo leveling, how we got the deck. If a lot of people were like, okay, we got season 2 coming up. Is it just going to be this deck? Be like, okay, we're going to get the deck this year. Next year, solo leveling the set. Or just little teases where if you know you're going to be in development, because they say they're 1, 2, 3 years developmentally ahead of where we're getting releases now. So if you know that much in advance, use some of that information to your advantage in your marketing and just say, hey, this is just to whet your appetite, more big things to come. And not give away anything of like, this is when it's coming out or anything like that, because I don't know how their contracts work. I do know that with My Hero, back when it was Jasco Games, Jason had mentioned that to get the My Hero IP, they had to dedicate X number of sets for just My Hero before they could even go onto another IP, like to do the mix and match, in order to get Funimation on board.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I don't quote me on that, anyone from UVS Games. That is secondhand hearsay. That is hearsay upon hearsay. But
there's a lot of hearsay as to what Jason did to get My Hero, but that is a separate task for when Shane Duckworth's
what was hilarious was I remember Shane saying this man walked in to, I think it was NetherRealm, and they didn't want to give him the Mortal Kombat license, and he walked out with the Mortal Kombat license, and he said, I was in the meeting, I have no idea how he did that. That was just Jason's power.
Yeah.
But
and they were, because they were like basically a garage band, like CCG creator, right? Like
it was Jason,
Jason,
Shane, and like 3 other people. And they were all running this themselves.
Yeah, and that was his superpower of getting these big IPs on board, of just convincing them to have this contract to let them do it. Yeah, and so I do like that idea of, hey, we're doing this Critical Role set 1, Critical Role set 2 will be coming. Like,
but what if set 2 is dependent on the sales of set 1? Then you can't
probably
announce
the reason that they don't.
If, like I said, if they're so far ahead that they're like 2 years in production ahead, I'm sure that if they wanted to do a set 2 when they got the IP, they probably would have planned for that ahead of time before this was even released, because this was 2 years or a year in advance anyway. But with something that monumental, where it's that big and you have so much material to choose from, from the comics and the campaigns, and now you've got the Vox Machina and now the Mighty 9 shows coming out. I can see that if you know that you've got this huge property with so much that you can pull from, I don't see it as much of a risk to do at least 2 sets. You already did the Challenger series and got a whole bunch of people to lose their mind on that.
So the other way to look at it, Cameron, is it might not be a UVS decision there. Maybe Critical Role don't want to give the license until they've seen how UVS handle a full set. Similar, like we had the Challenger, and then the full set wasn't announced for 8 months. Because
I'm not going back through the news thing.
It wasn't announced for several months because maybe they needed to show Critical Role that yes, this is viable. People want more. Give us more. And they went, okay, have a set, and we got the set, and we got Mighty 9, and we got the heroes, and here's the base characters. Now we've done this. It's sold really well. Give us the villains. I don't think we should get a Bell's Hell's villains mix, because that wouldn't leave space for the best part of Bell's House, from what I've heard, and that's the return of Vox Machina and Mighty 9 at their highest levels, and you can see how they've grown up over the last 30 years.
And like you say, a lot of it might just be the contractual stuff, right? In terms of how the Critical Role, IP holder people, whether that is just Matt Mercer himself or whoever it is, that controls the sort of legal stuff.
I think
that they want to handle.
I think it's Laura Bailey that handles the merchandising and shop sides. She's the head of it, and any single one of the cast members, if you ask them how much they care about their characters, how much they care about Critical Role and the community, they're not going to put their name on something that is inadequate. That's going to make them look bad. And especially with the video game coming up, if we could get a set 2 of this to release around the same time as the video game and get one of these cards in that video game as a promo, similar to the Plus Ultra game that came with a Deku promo, that would be great.
Yeah, I would be actually surprised if, when we eventually see the full roadmap for 2026, there isn't some sort of Critical Role product on that, whether that is set 2, whether that is some more challenges, whether that is a mini set like they're doing with Guilty Gear. Because
let's not get started like that. That's not official news, so we can't talk about that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I can do what I want. I'm quitting. I can burn the world down. It's fine.
Don't sink the ship on your way out.
And 2, I've got so many theories on that. But I've got to get for my first tin hat for thing that Hitch sent me down a rabbit hole of trying to do 6 degrees of UVS with the word Stratford, and that's. I reached out to people
Stratford. Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's
Shakespeare.
That's what everyone went. That's why everyone's immediately gone Shakespeare.
Well, it could be Stratford, then Avon, maybe Avon makeup, or Stratford, Shakespeare.
How many Americans know? Oh no, Hitch is English. He may know Avon. He may know Avon makeup. So the 2 running theories. I'm going to make a whole separate video on me going into the 2 running theories at the minute is either Record of Ragnarok, because Shakespeare makes an appearance in that during Arthur Conan Doyle's speech.
6 degrees.
That is one.
I mean, it depends on the definition. Are we talking at the full?
Basically,
a chain of picks here, or whether it's just
Hitch went. Here's the word Stratford. link it. Try and link it to UVS news that's coming out. If you can link it, it's very cool. So it's either going. So Record of Ragnarok's up there. Berserk's up there because of how it follows like Macbeth lines. Or Nier to be because of Hamlet to be or not to be.
Okay.
And I think that there, but I'm going to do a whole kind of separate video on that. But yeah, Hitch loves my tinfoil fat thing.
So Stratford to Shakespeare. Shakespeare did Macbeth. Macbeth has a ghost in the shell. Boom.
That'd be kind of hilarious.
I mean, that will make Chris Smith happy and me happy.
Okay, but we can also just go with Stratford to Shakespeare, Shakespeare to Romeo and Juliet, Romeo and Juliet to Leonardo DiCaprio from the live action, Leonardo DiCaprio to Titanic, and 400 card Titanic sets coming.
Yeah.
Didn't they promise they weren't going to do that to us anymore?
No, they have not promised anything. They just said it wouldn't happen often.
Yeah.
But speaking
but Record of Ragnarok would be cool, even though I stopped watching that show like halfway through season 1 because I was tired of the history lessons. I was like, I'll read it at this point.
The history
Don't worry, Hitch. I'll get 0 sleepless nights over it.
Did you at least get to the Poseidon fight?
No, I quit just before the Poseidon fight. It was just before that. It was at the end of Adam versus Zeus, and I was like, this is great. But give me more action and less talking about who these people are. Because if I want the wiki dump, I will go to Wikipedia.
See, I watched an entire anime where it was about bathhousing, and a guy was traveling in time between Rome and Japan, and was taking aspects of Japan's bathhousing back to ancient Rome and explaining it. I love the history dumps for stuff like that.
Well, that's fine, but I watched it to see humans versus gods, and not just here's a full episode dedicated to who Thor is.
So
I get it.
Here's the ultimate tinfoil hat that will make a lot of people in the community happy. Stratford to Shakespeare, Shakespeare to Record of Ragnarok, Record of Ragnarok to men fighting God with Poseidon, Poseidon to Epic the Musical as a set.
I think my wife just went to see Epic the Musical a few months ago.
I doubt it because it's primarily a TikTok thing at the minute. It might be.
No, that was Hades Town. Different gods.
If you've not looked at Epic the Musical, definitely check it out. It's amazing. I've just got Flynn watching the old Hercules movie.
Danny DeVito.
He just says no.
No, it's good. It's good.
But speaking of sleepless nights and other news that came out, we had the update to the Redemption Star, which goes live tomorrow. And we did get some more news that hasn't gone really public, but the numbers for points was updated to include Star Scrambles and local championships. So if you go to like the loyalty part of the star, you can now see that Star Scrambles will count for 120 points, and Star Championships will count for 120 points just for turning up. Mm-hmm. So going to those events, I don't know if they're monthly or quarterly or seasonally, but going to those guys...
I think local championships are once per season. I'm not sure about Scrambles. I don't know whether they are...
I couldn't find anything on the site about it, that's why, but you get essentially enough to get one promo for showing up to them, which is decent, but until we know the pricing on everything else... Oh, Assassin's Creed! Just make this a stream where we just try and link Stratford.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be Assassin's Creed because Magic got that, didn't it?
Magic got Godzilla.
That's true.
True.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But let's go on to the real reason Richard is still here, and that is he wants to see what we got in this box. Primarily, he just wants his sea sweeping daggers.
I know. I've opened 8 boxes now. Is it 7? 1, 2, 7 boxes, 4 pre-release kits, and then a whole bunch of loose boosters. And I've got one of the buggers. Honestly,
really, I opened 1 case and a pre-release kit at Worlds, and I have 2.
Yeah,
because I got. Although
I do now have all 4 violent anima shots or arts.
I have 3 alt art vestiges because I've just swapped I swapped an Altat Rodan for one and a Spellstorm, which was a great trade.
Yeah,
So
I've got 3 all anima shots, and then the other one should be coming in the post. So because that's, I think, one of my favorite alts in this set. So yeah, good work on that, Hitch. I like the all anima shot.
Yeah, go check out Lachar. Lachar does a great job on all the arts. I've literally emailed him a list of questions this week because he doesn't want to be on camera, but he was very open to it. Yeah, okay, to Lachar. Go check out his Twitter. He is doing like the stories of the cards and how he went about doing them, and like even going from like original sketches or different poses to how the finished product got there. It is so interesting and so cool to see. Like some of the depth of the art and how it changes is really cool. But UVS, while we're at Worlds, sent out emails and we're asking people if they wanted to open product. Of course, we want to open Critical Role product. Who doesn't want to open Critical Role product? So we got sent the Beauregard, Mollymock, and Caduceus playmat, which isn't the best to see in this tiny little camera. The Beau starter, which I'll let Cameron talk about because he's the Beau expert at the minute. And the Parcy.
They sent me the same mat.
Hey, and we got the Parcy starter. The Parcy starter, in my opinion, is amazing. You get 2.
Yeah.
That's just because you get 2 science bros.
That's the whole thing.
Good starters, right? I still think I would like for the starter decks to have 2 versions of the character, like a beginner and an advanced, so you can still play the same cards and just upgrade your character. I think that would be a really nice thing.
I mean, you can do that with these, though, can't you? You can just get one of the main set characters and swap them over.
Oh, sure. I just think it would be nice to have it as part of that learner, like as a new, like, because these should be for new players, right? They're not should be players because they're going out because they want the copies of Science Bros. Hopefully these are for new players. It's like, okay, I've never played Universus before. Me and a friend, we're going to pick up the Parcy and Beau start decks, we'll play them into each other, and it'd be really nice to have, okay, we play with our very basic characters to begin with, and then we upgrade to our more advanced characters with those same cards we're used to, just to have that little bit of a learning curve self-contained within these decks. But other than that, like, I think they're really nice. Obviously the Parcy one has 2 copies of Science Bros and 2 copies of Bad News Bullet, so it's actually a really good value product. But I think they're really nice starter decks. I think that they're better than the Attack on Titan ones. They're definitely a step up. I definitely like the fact they're called starter decks now. That's absolutely correct.
So I have opened a Parcy one already, and these are much better than the AOT ones in my opinion. 1, for playability. 2, because they do, as we said, they come with the Bad News Bullets and the 2 Science Bros and 2 Science Bros alone. But for me, it's also the fact that they come with 2 backups and assets included, which is one of the biggest questions that anyone gets in this game as to what do backups and assets do. Now that's answered as part of the starter deck. It's a very... the cards are more kind of tailor-picked around what the starter character is meant to be doing and feeding into this what the character is doing aspect. And I'm not too sure about the Beauregard, and I know Cameron's been looking at that one a bit more. But looking through the Parcy one I have here, and when I was looking through it, it's a lot more linear. It's it's very easy to understand. But having the backups and the assets in there means that when you go through that progression to challenges before going to the boosters, as the UVS website now shows that progression exists, this is a great introduction to all aspects of the game, whilst keeping it simple and easy to understand.
I don't know how I feel about assets and backups in a starter product. I think action should absolutely never be in a starter product. They're the most complex thing. Keep actions way away from a starter product. I think assets and backups, I'm not certain. Maybe backups because like they're sort of a more flavorful thing. They're cool and they're maybe a bit more easier to understand. They're like you're the ally that someone can attack if they want to, and they give you a benefit. Whereas it's like, why am I playing this green card that I can't commit to pass checks, and why can't it? Why is it not or like a grade card, right? So I don't know about the idea of including those in the starter deck just from the starter deck experience. I think I would leave those maybe. I would say sort of maybe you do backups in the starter, but not assets, and leave assets and actions to a challenger deck level product. But
I,
like that's sort of picking hairs on
no.
it. Sort of, so.
I get
I
that,
can
but
see that.
Splitting hairs.
at the same time, if you get your starter deck and you go through it all, and then you turn up to an event and you see an asset, you see a backup, and you have no idea because you weren't exposed to that at all. I think
Yeah, I mean, you
having
can make the
these
same argument for actions, though, right?
no,
So, I mean, there's always going to be a learning curve, but I just think you want to make the starter product learning experience as smooth as possible, and I feel like those are just sort of speed bumps you don't necessarily need to include in there for me. Like, you just want to get people in the game of playing grey cards, then playing orange cards, and flinging them into each other, and then once they enjoy that loop, then you're gravy,
I mean,
right?
from a
And then,
flavor aspect, if you put kind of any non-mage into a starter that doesn't have a weapon with them, it's just not good IP translation. Percy without his pepper box is not going to make a good product flavor wise.
yeah, I don't know. I would personally, I would have shied away from doing that, but it's not like the end of the world. But yeah, I think that they're good starter products. I think it's almost a shame the Percy one is as good as it is, that everyone's gonna be buying them just to get their copies of Science Bros, because that card's cracked in half.
How's the Beau starter? I've not opened mine up yet, but I know you are planning to play one at locals, Cameron. So I'm sure you've taken a look.
Okay, so I'm not playing the Beau starter. I'm just playing the Beau starter character because one of my locals at Primals is just kind of pick a random character and try to figure it out on the fly. But my locals have been annoying me lately, so I'm like, let's see if I can beat them with a starter deck character and make everybody feel bad about themselves. The main reason I like the Beau starter character, if you want to open her up so everyone else can see what she does, because some people might not know what she does.
I'm not opening up these ones because we're going to give them away.
Fair point. Well, she's same symbols as Beau from this set, kind of like Percy is, but she can commit herself to pick up any 3 difficulty attack from your discard pile.
Ooh.
And then your next attack gets +3 damage.
So you're
Mainly
telling
she picks up Besiege.
Yeah, she picks it.
And gives it 3 damage.
That's a 4/6 Besiege at any point.
4/7.
4/7 Besiege. Well.
Yeah. Or 3 mid-7. Because it's a 3 mid-4. Yeah.
Is it a slam, kick, or punch?
No, it's a charge fury, but she does play double jumbo fist and attack titan haymaker.
Oh, attack titan haymaker, yes.
So my whole goal is to double jumbo fist, build in a double jumbo fist, attack titan haymaker, commit her, play besiege for like a 6 mid or 5 mid 9 at the end of a string, and just mollywop people. But the Beau deck does come with 2 copies of Peerless Footwork.
Ooh.
Which I was really excited for because I needed 4 of those for a martial law list that I'm working on as part of my competitive stable. And I think her attack is the over-the-shoulder throw, which becomes a slam. And if it deals less than its printed damage, you get to draw a card and ready a foundation.
And that's it's a throw, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like a 1 mid 5 throw. So that make it a slam because of the brawler enhance, plus Peerless Footwork to make it like a 7 or 8 damage move. Plus, you've also got it's a mid, so with double jumbo fist, it gets stats there.
But you almost want to keep it below printed damage on a half so you can ready one up.
Absolutely, but if you don't, then your rival's just taking big damage anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. I mean, you're either taking 9 damage or 8 damage, or I'm gonna get to draw and ready. And it did weird me out though when I opened mine, because the first attacks you see after the shoulder throw are the Grog 6 diff common that has like EX3, and then Heavy Kick, which is like the 6 difficulty 9 damage attack.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, she picks up 3 diffs. Why are these 6 diffs here? And then the last foundation in the deck is the strong windup, which removes to give +3 to your check when you play a 6 diff. I was like, okay, never mind. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But really threw me off after I read the character, and there's all these 6 diffs. I'm like, did I read that wrong?
Well, it's similar to the Godzilla kind of challenger. They couldn't just put all 5 diffs in there because, you have to go around over cards, so it does make sense. But
yeah.
as I did say, sorry to everyone watching here on Twitch. We do love you, but the Beauregard and Parcy star decks will be given away on YouTube. I'm not. I couldn't do it on this video. Basically, subscribe if you subscribe to the channel, you like the video, and you leave a comment with your favorite Critical Role moment or Critical Role card. Actually, no, I scrapped that. I set up a specific password for this. I remember now. So if you subscribe to the channel, you like the video, and you tell me what the password is, you'll be entered in to win this. Simple as, what is the password? And because these are starter set decks, the password is something that Critical Role fans will know, but Universus players probably won't know. But everyone should know his password because it is always that password. And you two just...
I don't even know what the password is.
Nah. I'm only halfway through episode 5, so...
When you get to the NordVPN sponsored episodes, you'll message me like, "Oh, that's the password."
Oh, I keep skipping all of the adverts.
You can't skip the adverts, Cameron.
No.
Sam put so much hard work into those adverts.
Well,
the password is I love Richard
Spotify.
and I will miss him forever. That is the password.
We've got Matthew Illard is in one of the NordVPN adverts because I have how cool they are. One of the Rick and Morty D&D crossover ones was amazing.
Again, only halfway through episode 5, and it's just the Spotify advertisements and stuff like that. But another thing I'll say on the starter decks, I am annoyed at how much better the starter Parcy looks than the main step Parcy.
I mean, they both look amazing, but I think just the shot. But to answer Hitch, hell yeah, give me a Nord versus challenger in a second. What is it? Willow at AOL.com. Give the hacking the mainframe splicing. It's honestly, I usually listen on Spotify, so I don't get like the full benefit of it. As soon as I hear the sponsor is NordVPN, I'm immediately on YouTube because I need to see that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it sounds actually amazing. Getting deeper into the lore, like the fact that the Scanlan speech and a lot of the stuff that went down with Scanlan was because Sam was having major health issues and was going in for surgery where he lost part of his tongue. Oh, it's the more you get into it, the more you get involved in it. I've just come across Narrative Telephone, which is what they did during the pandemic, and it's absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's pure hackers meets lawnmower man. It really is. It reminds me of the Community episode where the Dean buys a VR stuff, and it's kind of like that. But what boss do you think we're going to get, Richard?
I'm going to say the Manticore, because that was the first one that came to mind.
I'd say Lorenzo, because that's the only one I don't have.
It's actually a Manticore.
Oh.
Hey!
I came across someone on TikTok who changed their name to Mollymock. And I was like, watch out for Lorenzo. I was like, surely it can't happen twice. And I was like, I should tell them about this game, and so they can get their revenge on Lorenzo.
Actually, looking into what all of the PvE rules for each boss does, like what they do for all of their effects, is what made me want to not only start listening to Critical Role, the podcast, but want them to do a Villains of Exandria set, because some of those guys are straight bastards.
Oh, Lorenzo is. I kept pressuring Tim Free to tell me who the last boss was, and he just wouldn't tell me. And then as soon as I found it was Lorenzo, I messaged him yeah, I would have cried. Fuck Lorenzo.
It's a shame those full rules aren't on the cards, and you have to sort of go online to get them. That's my only one complaint about those boss cards.
Like maybe if they wrote them on the back of the cards, like it was a
Yeah.
double-sided thing.
So I like
I can
it.
see that.
I like it for two reasons. One, it makes the bosses easier to balance. So if they come across things they might need to change, or they come across things in the future they want to change for the bosses, you can change the abilities and go through them. Two, it lets you play it the way you want. If you just want to have a straight up brawl with no abilities, you can. And the third one is it directs traffic to the site, to more news, to more IPs, to go to find out all the stuff that's going on. And it's like, yeah.
Oh, I know. I just would have liked it there for my own personal convenience.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
A lot
always
could be said about personal convenience in this game.
Region top cut map, Molly. Yeah. Oh, the top cut map. I love the purple that was added to the top cuts map. So, does anyone actually care about the comms and the comms, or you just want to see the rares?
Well, we can sort of, I guess, we can scan through them like this. This is obviously an official box opening, so as always, thank you very much to UVS Games for sending us all this stuff to us. Obviously, if you want to pick up your own copies of the stuff, go over to your LGS, support them. But we can just sort of, again, like I really appreciate and will always steal the Tim Keefe approach of just pick a card from Booster and talk about that one rather than every single one.
Sure.
Huge shout out to UVS for sending us this. We do really appreciate it. I've been directing people to the local game store on every post where people asking where to get hold of these, because the more stores that are where this game exists, the better. We get Just the Lavore, the Sapphire of the Menagerie Coast.
I know Marvin's been brewing with her. Not my jam, but I know Marvin's been brewing with Jester and has a very shiny one now. It's actually safely made its way across the pond, which I'm very, very thankful for.
I do like that this is a one of two arts. So if you put this next to not, the arts line up.
Yeah, and don't Vex and Vax do that as well?
Vex and Vax do, and you can kind of sneak Caliph in there as well. And then we get a Inventor's Creation as our first ultra rare.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good one, but it looks kind of almost silly in the face of Sweeping Daggers, right?
I mean, it was still being played.
Yeah, it's low and it can pick up Breaker, which is the nice thing, right? So it does a thing on block as well, but
But the fact that it doesn't copy all of the abilities that the card you're removing, so you're kind of getting only half of your value out of it.
Yeah, it's just like it's one of those. It's not a bad card at all. It's just the comparison to Sweeping Daggers, right?
But this also does your discard, where Sweeping Daggers does your opponents.
Yeah, as well. So there's other stuff. So obviously that can trigger things like your combined firepowers and stuff. Although it doesn't have.
And it is a low patchwork babies.
Yeah, it does. It loves patchwork babies. Tranquility Death, Radiant Vestige. Furious Charge, Arcane Spell. We got. Oh, I forgot to do the ones at the back. Night's Rest, Undeterred. See, I thought Flurry of Bows was a pun that UVS did, but no, Flurry of Bows is actually a pun in the campaign.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you on Mighty 9, Cameron?
I'm halfway through episode 5.
Of Vox Machina, yeah.
Of Vox Machina. I started at the very beginning.
Let me know when you get to the Ford reveal. And
that'll be in like 6 months.
I listen to it at work, and I work for 8 hours a day, so I get maybe 2.5 episodes. That's all I'm listening to.
When I was at Worlds, I just got to a very important Ford moment. I was talking with Anna Margaret, who did amazingly playing all those Godzilla on stream. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to get the win. But we were like nerding out over it, and people, I'm not up to that bit. It's like sorry, and then our card is, ooh, no, there's nothing there.
The Sweeping Dagger.
Alt Art Grog's Rage.
No, nice.
Very nice, very pretty. As he immediately drops it.
I do immediately drop it.
Yeah,
all of the alt arts in this set look amazing.
Yeah.
Not only just the changed ones, but just the color differentials on
Slight
the
disagree.
ultras.
Slight disagree.
Lachard did a great job. We do not besmirch Lachard's name in this house.
No. I love all the alt arts. there's just something about I think it's the color palette on the alt art scanner's hand that just doesn't do it for me. It's not like, and
Oh,
it's not
that's
like
not that's
it's
I
a
don't
bad,
that's a bad moon, I believe, not a Lachar. That's fine.
yeah, it's
I
not like
don't,
it's
I
a
don't think
bad
I've
job
seen
done
that
or
one.
anything like that. It's just like for me as a personal preference thing, it's just like that I don't gel with that one, but I love all the URs and
Okay,
all
I
the
like the
alternate styles.
style. I like the way that they did it.
Yeah,
Some of the color palettes can obviously clash. I'm just wish that Gravity Well got an alt art because I would have loved to see like a gold background with a deep purple Essek.
Mm.
I think that would have looked amazing.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
think what the best color scheme would be for like a Dunamancy alt art. Maybe it's because it's gonna get a promo.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, maybe because I'm gonna do a video on it, but Gravity Well with holstered spellbook is just a nasty combo because
Yeah,
you can't flip them.
I'm working on Gravity Well lines. But also, speaking of promos, have you seen the tarot reading promo?
Yes.
For the store championships, that looks so good.
So, did you? I'm convinced that the Mighty Knight and the Treasure Chest are like mapped to come together most of the time.
Possibly. I
noticed.
mean, that's what happens in these things. Sometimes box mapping is a thing, right? Box collation and card collation sometimes happens.
I don't know. I was going when I was doing my case stream. I was like, just all the time I was opening Mighty Nine, and right behind it was Treasure Chest. Joining the fight, I think is going to be a very powerful one, especially if Rodan and combined firepower still keeps popping up all everywhere. Just that thief enhance of just being able to go get rid of that. Caster, Nature's Call, Quest Board. Hey, heavy hammer thump.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you were talking about from the bow?
No, it was the heavy kick.
Oh, heavy
the
kick.
one where Keg's kicking the door in.
We get the Pepperbox Fight, which is another Percy starter. Caliph of the Aeroshari, and a Might of Stone.
Yeah, so that's one of... So yeah, we could talk about Might of Stone. That's sort of probably one of the reasons we saw Byakko on the pie chart, right? That's the discard a card, damage to face downs, yeah. So yeah, a very strong card in the sort of the Byakko decks and anything else that's sort of doing flippy things. It's a very real win condition.
That gets speed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just pump a bunch of damage with Byakko, you got the speed one and you got the damage one.
Yeah.
And then if you've got things like Thunderous Roar where you can just double up on that speed and just go, yeah, you're never touching this.
Mm-hmm.
Cycle of Violence, Alchemist Satchel Toss. That's one of my... I don't have many favourite Tarion moments from Campaign 1, but him just having this pouch full of grenades that he just goes, yeet! And just watching it explode going, it'll do something.
Yeah, and Satchel Toss is one of the playable tech cards, like in Percy. Like, you know, it's not crazy, but one of the playable ones anyway.
A day of relaxing. Can we talk about how nuts like this style of art in the cards are? Like Nonagon, Day of Relaxing, the T1. They just they look so good.
I'm guessing they're the same artists. Obviously, we've used Hitch and his art team and
Will Kirkby. Yeah,
different artists on this set. So
Will Kirkby did an amazing job on this. Regeneration, Peaceful Rebuke, Lightning Blade, Confidence, Blight Staff, Healing Spell. The biggest thing you get about Jester in any of the non-playing Critical Role things is, why does Jester have Healer?
Mm-hmm.
Percival De Rolo, they weren't brave enough to put his full name on the card.
It's probably they didn't have room to put his full name.
If we get a Bell's Hell set, I want Vexalia's full name and title on the card, because apparently it's longer than Percy's at that point. Vexalia De Rolo, with like Mistress of the Grey Hunt, like Duchess of the First House of Whitestone. It's like a whole thing, and then we get Peerless Footwork.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Cameron, tell us about Peerless Footwork.
It's going straight into my martial law deck because he's a brawler for absolutely no reason.
Because he's a brawler, same as Jin and Junior.
But it's just so good to do a order punches with the June stuff and repeat it 100% smash so I can ready up all of my drunken styles so I can keep tapping down all your stuff on both of our turns, and then just get free speed hate on the Peerless Footworks.
Yeah, I've been trying to cook something with martial law or with Knuckles, with Big Knucks, because you can commit something, give it stun 1 and 2 damage. You've committed something, so you get the damage. They then have to commit something to stun, so you get the speed, and you get the 2 damage, blah, 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 right? So, but you can't do that in order because it's only fire and water.
So
Yeah,
Peerless
that's why I
Footwork
realized I
gives
don't
gives your kick, punch, or slam, which works for Beau, plus 1 damage, and then the Brawl Enhance gives a printed difficulty of 4 or a printed difficulty of 4 or less, -1 speed. So not the best against Godzilla, but
yeah,
true. But against like Besiege.
It's a freebie, right? I mean, these are just 3 buttons you can press, and so it's
Yeah.
not. There's no cost involved in pressing them.
Yeah.
Tinker's Tools.
That's a good one. Getting Rodan and Parcy just being able to remove a thing, trigger firepowers, trigger science bros, give your attack something it needs, right? So it's just a very good utility piece in those decks. Just as a flip, remove something, trigger firepower, spin the wheel, trigger science bros.
Warning Sigil. Infiltrating Johas. Hunter's Arrow. Heavy Kick. There's the one.
Yeah, Heavy Kick.
Yeah, I'll let you do that, Richard. Decapitating Swing. Tarot Reading. The monthly promo is just... This is still good looking, but yeah. Predator's Pounce. Scoundrel's Insight.
The Scoundrel himself.
Mollymock Tea Leaf Carnival Hooligan. The altar of this is just gorgeous.
I pulled one out of my personal box, not my UVS box, but my personal box. I got an alt art Mollymock, and I was like, I might have to play Mollymock now. It's so beautiful.
No, it's a decent choice. I mean, it's a decent choice. I have one downside to it, which I won't say because it involves another card game, and this is a box from UVS. But let's hope we got.
And yeah, I love all the character alts in this set. Like, you know, whether you like the character themselves, the alts are all awesome.
We got a Cleaving Swipe. 5 difficulty, 5 mid for 5, with a blitz. Wow, this is tiny text. Remove one rage counter from your character. Your rival loses 2 health, or a rival backup loses 2 stamina. Response. After your rival backup is destroyed, this attack gains echo. So
yeah, and isn't that the 5 diff with blitz? Not blitz, frenzy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
just weird to have a 5 diff with frenzy because, to me anyway.
I mean, if something in front of you gets blocked, it does lower, but it's very specific in what it's looking to do, and unless backups kind of take off, it probably won't see too much play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sad. Lie to you, Doctor. Richard will be missed, but Cameron has agreed to step in for a little bit, and we'll go from there. Start off with the pun name, A Flurry of Bows. One of my favourite things in Campaign 2 is just Sam constantly putting Beau's name into puns, like, oh, Beau, you didn't. Rejuvenating Prayer. Zealot's Ascendance.
Man, so Zealot's Ascendance, is it, whatever it is, like, that's not a common, or is it an uncommon? That's not an uncommon artwork. That should have been on like a rare or an ultra rare. Like, it's just such a good piece of art. Like, it feels almost wasted on a lower rarity card.
You can say that for a lot of cards. It should be
that's
on
true. To me, that's one of the ones that sticks out in terms of, like, I'd love to see that on a more premium rarity card in like foil and stuff, you know.
Turn it with those on sleeves.
Yeah.
Peaceful Rebuke. Heavy Kick. God, I love Keg. Keg is so cool. Family Hug. Lightning Blade. Subdual Technique. Staff Crack. Beauregard Lionette Expositor. I'm interested to see where the spy keyword, like character trait, goes. I think this is the first one we've seen.
Yeah, I think she's the only one with spy, and it's the only trait that's not mentioned in any other ability, kind of like Inventor or
Yeah.
Packbound?
So some of these these will be like seeded, right? They're seeding these things for future compatibility. So, for example, like Master Splinter might have Spy or something, right? Or,
Or
one of the
James
ones in
Bond
terms,
as a Challenger series.
yeah, or anything coming forward could have Spy or something, right? So they're like, oh, we want these things to be back compatible with Beauregard.
Monomer 2 is coming.
Mhm.
But then it's also a case of, would we really know if any of these characters had Spy?
No, not necessarily, because so it's just one of those things. It's like there's a reason for it being there, right?
Oh yeah, like Warrior, the AOT2 had a lot of Warriors. We've seen Warrior in a lot of stuff, but it isn't really utilized on cards yet, and it wasn't part of like the article on it. And then we have, we got a shoulder toss.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one you were talking about. So we're building our own little Beauregard deck here.
And it's got stun 1 on it, which isn't bad
No.
for a 1-speed throw.
Marshall doesn't have water, right? You can't throw it in that.
Yeah, Marshall has water. There's
Law has water.
There you go. So you can commit. You can throw it in Marshall. You can get +1 speed. Have it hit for half damage, and then ready something up that you commit to give it a bit more damage.
Yeah.
True, but it doesn't have punch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of the kit I'm going for.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about like some sort of stupid city rampage martial law with all the haymakers, but because you get to play 4 attack types haymaker, 4 earth shakers, so you get 8 haymakers.
Yeah.
Battle Priest, Spirit Weapon Whirl. That's one that I'm not looking forward to seeing many times. Strong Wind Up, Merciless Lead. That's another one that could have quite easily been on a much higher rarity art.
Yeah. A lot, like again, like I just there's very little about this set I don't like, right? Like some of the characters I'm not like in love with in terms of wanting to play them, but like I think they're all cool.
Magic Assault, Hammer Launcher, Revive Ally, Exploring Imon, Spiraling Fetch, Yasha Naruden, Orphan Maker.
Yeah, nice.
That's
again,
That is
like
gorgeous.
all of the alt arts are really good. I think Yasha's one of the ones I do have, but yeah, all the alt arts are just.
Yasha is not one I have. I got 4 in my case, and Yasha was not one. But Yasha looks so good. The way I don't quite know if it can be shown on the camera as this.
No.
But
I mean, obviously, if you want to see more about the sort of the process of going through how these alt arts were designed and constructed and stuff, go back and watch our video with Hitch. Because he went into a lot of detail about how
the
went around
texture and
these.
the foiling is just so good.
But yeah, all the alt art characters are awesome.
And then we get another card where the art goes a little bit too hard, Nonagon, which also saw some play over the weekend.
Yeah, a very strong, like sealing attack is very strong, because not only does you stop it, does it lose everything, but it means it can't gain anything. Although I don't think that stops you doing Nick Reagan stuff on it, because you don't technically give it any abilities with Nick Reagan. They sort of exist in the ether.
Yeah.
You play the enhance from the remove zone, so no, because that was one thing that confused me when I was doing my talk with Nick, and he was just saying, no, you just play the enhance; it doesn't get added to the card.
Yeah.
Show off.
Love that card.
It's a good one. False Vestige, Vox Machina. Vox Machina is one that's caught people off guard, reading it, because the way, if you just quickly read it, you think you get +4 to your check, but the maximum you can get is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unless you're playing a multi-format, multiple people.
Oh, God. Yeah. I guess that is to help out with boss battles and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Leaping Axe Strike, Great Axe Chop, Goblin Bolt, Crotch Lightning with the errata. I'm very sad this was not played on stream. I will eventually get this played on stream.
Sadly, that's a limited card, I'm afraid.
No, I had so much fun playing this against the bosses and just going,
Mhm.
yeah, Pike will use crotch lightning. And, it's like,
Hmm.
and then we get electric resistance. This is another one where I think they just come together.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I think crotch lightning always comes with electric resistance. Stoic enemy, enmity, Pike. Trickfoot. Yeah, I like Pike. She's very boring and basic, but I think she's a lot of fun.
She's
Yeah,
a good mid-range deck.
Yeah.
it's just like the words are not interesting on her, right? The words are good on her, but they're just like, oh, gain a health. Like it's just again, it doesn't get my kind of creative juices flowing for that one.
If she had a way to pump damage on face, so you can always guarantee that minus speed, I like her.
It's not on face, but she can play City Rampage.
Mhm.
Yeah, she can.
Make everything +3/+1.
I mean, she's got the life package, so she can. I mean, she can play Immortal Shapeshifter that does increase damage.
Yeah.
Here, you attack gets 1 damage, I'll gain some health, and also, yeah, -2 speed now. And then we have Curious Tea Preparation, another one of these Will Kirkby cards that just goes so hard. Just go quickly make sure that is a Will Kirkby card. It is.
Yeah, so
I've definitely seen stuff like that in a Fever Dream before.
You probably had tea from Caduceus Clay in a Fever Team. In a Fever Dream.
Not much of a tea drinker, unless I'm sick, which then Fever Dream. So
makes it from
sadly
dead
meant
bodies.
empty.
yeah, I've been told. Like I said, I've got a friend of mine.
You got a
who's
friend that
been
makes
trying to
tea
get me
from
to
dead bodies?
That, and I've got a friend who's been trying to get me into Critical Role for the longest time, and it wasn't until he was explaining like the backstories of all the different villains and the bosses. I'm like, you know what? All right, I'll give it a listen. You just got to start me on the right thing, and usually villains is a great way to get me into anything.
The Grogs did not top, unfortunately, Harry.
No.
Elemental Orb, break the spell. I love the green orb cards. The great use in negative space.
Yeah, and I love Elemental Orb just as a flavorful card in terms of the words on the card matching the sort of what an Elemental Orb is. So
Yeah.
Fade to Black, Colder Week. Colder Week is, I think Colder Week is a card that's in so many card games now. Because Project K has just announced that they're changing the name of one of their cards, Cull, to Colder Week as well.
Interesting.
But again, it's another one where the art just goes really hard. Ensorcelled Spell, Ensorcelled Slash, Weapon at the Ready, Woolen Distraction, Eliminating Spell, Keg! Keg loves kicking indoors and smoking while riding horses. Vexalia, Protector of the Wilds, is our character. A great one for using Jahat or Trinket. Wow, it's been a while since I watched them.
Jarret and Trinket, yep.
Jarret and Trinket, that is the combination play. And seeing as we were talking about Epic the Musical as well, we've got a nice little Ultra F that with No Mercy Parcy.
I think this card's really strong. I've opened 6 of the buggers. Compared to 1 Sweeping Daggers. I don't know if you play 4 in Parcy, but this card's really good. Like
It's
when
a
it pops off,
Justify
it
2
goes-
check.
it goes so hard. You debuild them, it gets huge amounts of stats, it draws your card, and you've snapped an echo from snapped the momentum from your dual needle lunge, so you can echo it all the time. It's just a very strong card.
I also like that it shuffles the cards into your deck instead of just putting them on the bottom.
Thank you, Hitch, for the subscription with Prime. We really do appreciate it. Right. Suggestive Spell. Soothing Grog's Rage. I completely missed that I was Pike the first time I looked at this card because I forget Pike used to have black hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I really hope at some point someone does do like the pamphlet or mushroom counters. Actually, I'll kill Ghidorah with this card.
I mean, I've got an idea
Mm-hmm.
with the pamphlets. It was a deck that I gave to a friend of mine when we went to Vegas for nationals, and it was a what's the little robot's name?
Fresh cut grass.
Yeah, it was a fresh cut grass deck that played nothing but defense and pamphlet counters and stuff that flips your rivals' foundations. So in order to do anything, they had to build to at least 10.
Mm.
No,
And then he would just side in. His whole side deck was just all throws. So he would hopefully annoy them to death in the first game, and then just all throws them the second game. And he said he wanted to go 0-0-7. He just wanted to tie every round. So
if I could get a hold of them, I would absolutely show up to events with fresh cut grass, embarrassment, and duplas. Because you just get to compliment your rival and ready them back up and go, ha ha! Stinging Blade, the previous pro,
well.
Backstab, the list. I love the list, and I love how Matt Mercer ties the stuff going on in Mighty 9 back to Campaign 1, where we get to see Anna Ripley's list names pop up in the Empire of Wildmount while the Mighty 9 are doing the stuff. Like, oh yeah, these names were on Anna Ripley's list. That's really cool to see. Protecting Whitestone, Persuasive Talent, Swift Charge, Water Magic, Caduceus Clay, Intuitive Caretaker, the backup character of the set.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get
Heir apparent to Recovery Girl.
Rip Apart, the Grog Fury combination throw nonsense.
Some brutal artwork there.
Yeah.
Very brutal. But yeah, just being able to give this throw if you've got another Fury ahead of it for combo, and just being able to Grog or Yasha it up to the point where it's lethal is just nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see sort of what the Grog builds were this weekend, what they were trying to do.
I mean, I think you can just go on to play to the event and have a look. Cause I think deck lists were public from.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just haven't looked yet. But...
Decompose,
Mm-hmm.
Magic Trap, Throat Slitter. There's some really brutal names and arts in this set as well. Magic Alert, Imprison Noble, Revive Ally, Nimble Thief, Subdual Technique, Combat Evaluation, Tarion Darrington,
And his weird mouth.
His weird mouth.
I'm just saying, something about the way his mustache looks. He looks like a knockoff Joker.
Yeah,
with
no,
the
I get it.
mustache, like making it look like his lip is curled off a little weird. It's just, I don't like it.
That is something that shocked me when I was looking at like the Street Fighter and Darkstalkers boxes that I was opening up for recordings. But this game used to be a 17 plus, and now it's a 14 plus. It's like, oof, retro is not for kids.
No, have you seen
Cabal's
some of
Ruins
the
is a solid
Mortal
one as
Kombat
well.
cards?
The sort of thief inventor vestige.
Yeah. -1 damage if you're a thief or inventor.
And even like I think Rodan can play this as like a 1 or 2 of just as a I'm going to block everything and store a load of damage here, and eventually I'm just going to send one to kill you. It might be a bit win more because you've got combined firepower to do that, but yeah, I think Cabal's Ruins really solid. Just as like a, it's never going to be necessarily the cornerstone to your strategy, but is a at the worst it's a 1/6, right?
Yeah.
So
I think all the vestiges at least have a one of home in places, especially like the Dawn Martyrs. We saw a lot of play because it's just learning the standards on a stick.
Yeah.
And that's the one that stops you being burnt to death, isn't it?
No, that's play to the Dawn Martyr. I was talking about the Razor. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Dawn Razor.
The Star Razor.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Star
the
Razor,
the ones that stops you getting burnt to death might have helped in the finals, because I believe that was the final point of damage in the finals today was sweeping daggers. Remove sweeping daggers for the final point. I think the sweeping daggers would have been lethal without it, but it was just quite funny that was like they were on 1 and they played no sweeping daggers, remove sweeping daggers, kill you.
Spirit Weapon Whirl, Wild Healing, Tavern Brawl with the ridiculous amount of keywords.
Yeah. Hat Trick Baby's best friend.
Keywords the card.
Yeah. Patriot Babies, absolutely. Family Hug. Quick Draw Arrow. Magic Boost. Found Family. Love the art on Found Family.
Mm-hmm.
Bang Bang. Arcane Spellbolt. Not the Brave to go Valgester. And a Falchion Blade Binding.
I really dig that card.
Yeah. We saw a Knot on stream today. It was against Parcy, actually. Was really strong, actually. Just looked really good. Just very defensive, and eventually will just kill you because it just generates momentum off hackers defensively, things like that. And then just eventually then goes, well, all my attacks have like +5 speed. You're not stopping me.
That's what. Mighty Nine. No treasure chest this time, just proving me wrong right away. Wild Healing. Warding Sigil. Cornered. Great Axe Chop. Noxious Gas. Exploring Imon. Collecting Components. Pepperbox Fire. Allura, which we'll definitely see some play in the future. And then we
I've got
have
plans for Allura.
Special Forces Elite, the Mortal Kombat reprint.
Yeah. And like I think if you're playing text on these symbols, it's just good because they're not allowed to go to deadlock because that response doesn't say non-character. Like it's a very strong deadlock response to have access to, and it's just a solid piece. But yeah, you can go play your Mortal Kombat copies because it is a very much a direct reprint.
Yeah, and I do like, well, even if it wasn't direct, you can still do it now. I do like the art on this because it's showing Tarian's prologue stuff, where he went back to Walmart and set up his own adventuring group after leaving Vox Machina. Cycle of Violence, Fade to Black, Nymph's Invitation, which came up towards the end of Vox Machina, Nature's Call, Slash, Woodland, Stupid Sexy Sean Gilmore, Heavy Hammer Thump, Pocket Bacon. Did anyone read Anna's regional articles where she was like telling us how to prep for regionals?
I haven't, no.
If you do check it out, it's on the Gamer. She talks about a lot of the stuff for regionals, and one of the things that she did recommend was making sure you have water or other hydrating liquids, as well as making sure you have some high protein snacks to keep energy and like brain function up, and which means she did technically recommend Pocket Bacon.
Pocket Bacon.
Man, it's fair.
Scanlan Shortholt, who did surprisingly well for JJ over the weekend.
Yeah, it looked really strong. Just playing actions, building off them. Again, some of these characters, like for example, Scanlan, they're not me characters, but I think people are going to have to make them work. But they probably just need a bit more time to brew and to develop those decks for them to sort of get towards those top cuts. But
and then our rare is, if you want to talk win more, Bad News Bullets. If you're below 10 health, this doubles in damage to 12. That is just very.
I mean, even then, it's like a 6/6 stun 2.
Yeah.
With a 1 eye block, there's nothing bad about that card. It's a card that sort of has come in and out of my Parcy list. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just sort of strong. Like it's just, like I say, 6/6 stun 2.
Oh yeah. Suggestive spell, Moon's Wrath, which saw a surprising amount of play in itself. Throat Slitter, Quest Board, the only 0 diff in the set.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter's Arrow, eliminated spell, Protecting Whitestone, Predator's Pounce, Keg, a regular Yasha Orphan Maker, and then
I just need the Chrome.
Now just need a Chrome, and ultra rare is Spirit Unicorns.
Yeah, a good one in the spell decks.
It came up. I know it was mentioned a couple of times on stream. It's caught a lot of people off guard with actually how sneakily powerful it is.
Crown Fog's good, always was good, and that's why it got banned, right? So,
yeah,
it's not banned in retro. True.
Also, am I the only one who thinks that Throat Slitter should probably have been a rare instead of an uncommon? Or is that just me?
Yeah, Throw Slitter's really good.
Just rip a card for free, and if they don't want to take a buttload of damage, they just don't get to draw a card, so it effectively takes 2 cards to block it. Just
Throat Slitter,
Yep.
5 diff, 1 mid block, 5 mid for 5.
Powerful 2.
2 weapon, blitz. Your rival discards 1 card. If this attack deals damage, your rival draws. Yeah. No, when this was revealed, I immediately messaged our resident EU Void player, and they were quite hyped for it. But it's a case of you need to be able to put enough damage on it to justify them being like, I need to block this to get another card out of the hand. You don't really want them drawing.
Or
Yeah,
if you have
just-
a way to kick it from your card pool to abort it, it doesn't do damage. They don't get to draw.
Probably not worth
True.
it at that point,
Yeah.
but like just any way of putting damage on it that says you
So-
can't just take 5 of this. You're going to take 8, or
Yeah.
you're going to
You
take.
heard it
9.
here
The
first.
powerful works
cards.
too.
You heard it here first. You heard it first. Cameron's next deck is going to be a Bakugo 4 Throat Slitter deck.
Mhm.
See, you joke, but I actually played Deception Dagger Stab with Bakugo 4 to remove a card from your hand and then just kick it to kick another card out of your hand.
Mhm.
So this actually does kick the 2 cards out of your hand in Bakugo 2, and it costs 1 less, and it doesn't have to be the first card that you played.
There you go. Mystic
So
Recovery.
you joke, but I've done it.
Draining Sword Play. That's the Great Craven Edge. That's Grog's somehow issue of always succumbing to charismatic weapons. Infiltrating
That's the
Jahas.
Bacon Sword, right?
Hmm?
That's the Bacon Sword, right?
Craven
The
Edge.
sword that he called Bacon, and it was like, no, don't call me that again.
I think so. He had a bit of a tumultuous relationship with Craven Edge. Imprisoned Noble, Decapitating Swing, Swift Change, Confidence, Powering the Blightstaff, Grog Strongjaw, and a Fortune's Favor, the card that's put Dabby free on the realms of playability.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far. It means Dabby 3 looks interesting. I haven't actually. Again, I got halfway through making a build for him. I've got about like 10 half done or quarter done builds on UVS Ultra that I haven't got around to finishing. Dabby 3 being one of them. I think I've got like 2 or 3 different martial laws, and then I've got loads that I'd need to actually sit down and get into the weeds and finish on. But Dabby 3 is certainly one of them. Fortune's Favour is sort of one of the reasons to look at it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
It also means that when you're looking at these action-heavy decks, like if your opponent tries to Koema's task you and they have to fail because it's a free diff that they're playing, or if they go for a risky combined, you go, cool, my check has now got easier. It can make your opponent second guess their opinions or their judgments.
Yeah.
That, and I love playing check hack abilities, so that's my preferred version of defense, is just I'm going to hack your check so you can't touch me. So Fortune's Favor just always makes stuff like that better because half of the check hacking doesn't end the combat phase, so that's where I just store checks for later.
Yeah.
It does make me wish that Vega had Chaos and I'd play this in retro.
Oh no, he's Air Death Evil.
Yeah. Preparing the Ambush. Unsavored Morsel. Arrogant Smirk. Macabre. Magic Alert. Persuasive Talent. Bang Bang. Tarot Reading. Healing Spell. Mollymock. And Rene, or Rini. Because I always pronounce it wrong.
Riani?
Rini, it's Rini. I always pronounce it
Rini?
wrong, but it's Rini.
I've been pronouncing it Riani this whole time.
No, it's Rini.
That's how I pronounce it.
I cannot remember. She is she is the voice actor for someone in Overwatch, and also the daughter of someone else who's very famous. It was really cool to see her on the stream. If I'm remembering the voice actor correctly. LeVar, thank you, Hitch. LeVar Burton, that's the one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Mika Burton who's LeVar Burton's daughter.
LeVar Burton, the one from Community that goes on the round the world trip with Troy.
He's also from Star Trek Next Generation.
Who's
Yeah.
Geordie?
Geordi. He's Star Trek
Geordi
Next
LaForge.
Generation.
No,
Geordi LaForge.
he's LeVar Burton. He's the one that plays the acting coach in.
Reading Rainbow.
He does. He's the acting coach in Arrested Development.
I think he's all of them.
He's not the Ghostbuster, is he?
No, that's Ernie Hudson.
Ah, okay. No, technology is my superpower. That's what I was winding up, mate. Ensnaring roots, upward swipe, golem battering, quick draw arrow, backstab, nimble theft, martial prowess, holstered spellbook. I do like that. Will go too well. Pocket bacon, Ford, and just before I get to the next one of the things on Rini, I do like this new trend of adding keyword traits to other characters, and I hope we get one for like everyone. I'd love to see
maybe.
Like,
I mean, you could get one for Spy in Critical Role Set 2.
I don't think Inventor has one, is it? It's just the 6, so we can't like give anyone an Inventor yet.
No, I don't think so.
And then our rare card is a Resilient Charge. 7 diff, 5 mid for 8 damage, stun, 1 charge, slam. One of the Lady Kima cards that pops off. Oh. I was saying to Cameron before we started, I think there's only like a handful of content creators that have not pulled a Chrome, and we are definitely going to be on that list.
Yeah, you don't know that yet.
Well, no, technically one has been pulled on our channel now.
Yeah, you have pulled a Chrome. This is true. So when you leave, the Chrome counter goes back down to 0.
I mean, like I said, I've still got a way to go to catch up with Harry. I think he's at 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, I was talking with Cameron about that earlier. Join the fight. Quick draw arrow. Magic boost. Bang bang. Martial prowess. Staff crack. Arcane Spellbolt, Percival DeRollo, and we get a To the Grave as our rare. Death attuned, 4 diff, 4 mid for 4, with 2 blitz abilities.
You can discard a backup for 2 speed and kill a backup that's cost 4 or less, and then you can give it powerful X. X equals the number of your backups.
Yes, that's what I was looking at. The powerful X for the number of backups that you've got is very powerful, very Caduceus Clay coded.
Fun fact, I have an Elder Toguro that's based around backups, and I used that to end a game this weekend.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and I used Call the Week to just machine gun all of my backups away on my rival's turn to death rattle them to death.
And how many harness and death running?
2.
Is that just because that's how many you own, or?
No, that's because that deck does not generate momentum as quickly as I'd like it to.
Fair. Break the spell. Merciless lead. Shikasta. Yeah, you're up to that part. There's 2 things that will make Mighty 9 watchers start whispering. It's Shikasta and Ukatoa. Biting
I grew up
dagger.
watching the Ace Ventura movies, so...
How much they did not age well.
Probably not.
Holstered Spellbook, Esic Phalus, Expert Dunamancer. That's the first one we pulled in this box, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Wow, our boy not showing up to the end. And we got a help or harm with both of our clerics on there. One of which wants to help and one of which wants to harm.
Up to you to figure out who's who.
Every time that Jester's asked to heal, just the grunting, they're like, I don't want to heal. I want to punch it in the face. It's like, You can 100% tell this was not supposed to be a cleric.
I did that as a campaign once. I played a cleric in a D&D campaign, but my god was the god of death. So I'm like, no, I'm not healing anyone. Like, people dying of... Like, that's fine. They go to be with the god of death. Like, that's the correct...
From what I remember,
why would my clerical powers, why would my spells that my god is going to be healing someone, where going into the cold night of death is the preferable way of thinking? I wasn't evil, I wasn't helping people like die, but I'm like, no, why would I be healing people? That's just it doesn't make sense.
From what I remember, Jester was supposed to be a warlock until like that clashed with Ford, so it just became a reluctant healer. Which I'm really surprised is not the name of a card. We've gone for this reluctant healer. Show off a day of relaxing, Vox Machina, Magic Assault, Leaping Axe Strike, Slam, Ferocious Charge, Everlight's Grace, Goblin Bolt, Treasure Hunting, another Not the Brave, and a very appropriate one for not to have, Aerial Goblin Bolt.
Yeah, very nice card. Like, not crazy powerful just because it's like 3 diff, but there's enough going on with this card that it will see play, right, and has been seeing play.
I agree, Richard. Not is crazy powerful.
It's that, how do you make a 3 diff good enough to play but not too good? I'm just ignoring it. Yeah, how do you make a 3 diff attack like I say good enough to warrant putting in your deck without it being too good? Because like I think 3 diffs, when they get too good, they're just obnoxious. P.S. Hello, Besiege. But yeah, I think Aerial Goblin Bolt is a really strong one, especially when a character that has like ways of stuffing a card pool, like a Devil Jin or something. Yeah. Being able to pick up a block with it, that sort of thing. So
I think we can all agree that Aerial Goblin Bolt is 100% not playable.
Right, I'll see you all later.
That one took a second for Richard to catch up with.
No. I was just deciding how to react.
He was waiting for that little piece of his soul to join the cold sleep of the death god.
Yeah.
He had to have a mini funeral.
The amount of nut jokes you can get is great. Elemental Orb, Decompose, Magic Trap, Precise. Here's one of the outstanding cards from Denver. Inspiring Song, the 1/6 that lets you increase or decrease a check.
Yeah, it was definitely in the second place Mitch deck.
Weapon at the ready, Crotch Lightning. Electric Resistance. See, I told you. I'm not paranoid. I told you. Spiraling Fetch.
Back printing is a thing.
My boy, Caleb Widogast, coming right after Isaac, is pretty good. And then we have a Jaunty Trickster, 2 diff, 5 control, 3 high block, response foundation.
Yeah, it just that's the thing that says things don't count towards aggressive. So if you're a character that can play, life and a strictly rampage character or something, or
likes playing its actions.
Pike. Pike Trickfoot can do it.
Does Scanlan's Hand have life? Because that would be pretty decent.
No, it's Chaos Earth Order.
Boo.
Well, you could just play one of those characters that also has life, right? Because that's the life attuned card.
Yeah.
Soothing Grog's Rage. Inspired Design. Tavern Brawler, the Patchwork Babies card. Tranquility of Death. The List. Radiant Vestige. Unrelenting Brute. Water Magic. Stoic Enemy. Enmity. Pumat Swall.
I think he's cool.
I'm sure he's fine.
Pumat Swall is amazing.
He's fine. I just have problems.
I like Pumat Swall. I like Pumat Swall. Don't get me wrong. I really wish it'd been Sean. If you're putting the two sellers against each other, Sean is better. But I think in terms of NPCs from the campaigns, Isaac and Pumat were the correct choices for Mighty Nine from what I've seen. Because they're the most repeated ones.
That makes sense.
You get to play Sneaky Boats. So, like, what more do you like want?
And then we got a Mighty Blitz as our SR of the box. I'm surprised
Nice.
this wasn't being played in Mitchell even as a one-off, just because of that powerful 5.
Maybe I think he was just wanting more stuff like with the stun package, right? That way he was
Yeah.
very playing a stun package heavy deck, so like that's what he was looking for from it. So again, I think it's one of those cards that could end up seeing play, but I think it just needs to find the right home. And one of those cards that isn't necessarily obvious where it goes to begin with. So
Outside of like Devil Jin.
yeah.
I'm sure there's other places that you can definitely find homes, and the fact it doesn't say printed zones gives it a lot of power. Because if you can VME and get a logo, the bye-bye momentum is very strong. Dedicated Artisan, Tinker Shot, Night on the Town, Precise Arrow, Magic Boost, Found Family, Sean Gilmore, Scoundrel's Insight, Treasure Hunting, Vaxel Dan,
no Chrome.
Dagger Master, and our last rare is an Unyielding Rage, which is how we feel about not getting a Chrome.
Poetic.
I'm just glad about the no sweeping daggers.
Yeah, we didn't get any sweeping daggers either, damn.
I think the box they sent me got me a sweeping daggers and an aerial goblin bolt with an alt art animus shot. I was like, well, I can't complain about not getting a chrome. This box was money.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got an alt art Grog's Rage, which just looks absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
and an alt art character too. So you got
we
two
got
alt
Water
art
Yasha. She's
Yeah.
really nice.
They're not guaranteed. Like, there's 4 in a case on average.
Yeah, it's been roughly 4 in a case I've been seeing from in terms of what people have been pulling.
Yeah, cannot complain about that. The Yasha is absolutely gorgeous. The Grog's Rage is beautiful itself. Mighty Blitz is just a solid one in itself. We got a very cool Inventor's Creation. In terms of URs, I don't think we did too badly. Aerial Bolt's not too bad.
No. I mean, it was a nice box, right? We got the alt SR, we got the alt art character.
The fact we only got one. The fact we only got one vestige is shocking to me because I think I opened a box where I got 3 or 4 vestiges in a single box.
Yeah, that's almost a good thing, right? You know, you really with the vestiges, you only really want 1 or 2 in a deck. To be honest, like there's very rarely do you want to play like 3 or 4 copies of one.
Yeah.
What's really weird is at least locally here, the 3 people who have been investing most money-wise, or I think 4 of us in this set, each have pulled more copies of a different vestige. So like I've pulled 4 Spire of Conflux. A buddy that I share our collection with pulled more Fenthrises. Another guy pulled like 2 alt art and 3 regular Star Razors. Ooh. So it's just like, wow, we each have our own vestige that for some reason keeps floating to us, and I'm so tired of pulling Spire of Conflux.
Mm-hmm. I need to get.
I think the one I've had the most of is Cabal's Ruin, but I think I've got a reasonable spread actually.
I've got a very reasonable spread. I think Titanstone Knuckles has shown up the most out of everything I've opened, including alt art. But I need Cabal's Ruin, Dawn Razor, and it's gonna bug me. Fenris, I think it's Fenris, and then I've got all the alt art vestiges. Because I think when I opened 2, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to get all 6 now, just so I can like frame them.
Might as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it is 10 past 11. We've cracked this box. If you haven't already got some product, get down to your local game store. Get involved in the Critical Role product. It is flying off the shelves. And check out when your store championships and store scrambles are going down, because the promos for them are absolutely amazing as well. If you're in the UK, sign up for Chelmsford. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And the prize wall has double-sized alt characters, exclusive alt arts. If you're a Critical Role fan, it's a great time to get in this game and pick up some very exclusive cards you cannot get anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, thanks very much to UVS Games for sending this stuff. It's really awesome to get to open this channel for you guys. Go obviously support your local game store and pick it out from them. There was something I was going to say, and I completely forgotten. I've gone blank. But yeah, and yeah, as you were saying earlier, I think this is a set that could very easily start selling out. So if you want to get it, grab it while it's hot. Yeah, obviously, thanks so much to Cameron for joining us. Obviously, thanks so much to everyone watching.
No, Richard. Thank you for joining me and Cameron now.
Yeah, shut up.
I
was
wasn't
just
going
going
to
to
say
do my
anything.
sign off one last time, you know?
Although, you know what this means, Brett?
Yeah.
You could have more retro talk now.
Ooh, this is true. This is true. I mean, Richard is getting into retro. He did spend a lot of time at Nats trying to pick up retro decks from the dubbers.
I mean,
Still my
no.
bleeding heart.
Me trying to pick up Mortal Kombat cards for my son because he likes Mortal Kombat, and me trying to win the Heidi deck because my locals wanted the Heidi deck. It's not the same as me getting into retro.
Was it a no attack Heidi deck? Because that's disgusting.
No, I think it had 4 attacks. And
Did
just
you
one
have
for
to
Heidi.
play? Did you have to play the format retro to get those decks?
I played my standard pony deck.
But did you play? Did you play retro?
No, I didn't. My opponent
he
didn't
played
do
standard in a retro
Yeah.
deck.
What was the what was the format you played?
Was goldfishing, like what Pony does every single time.
Yeah, but Pony is a retro deck because it's retro legal.
Technically.
Right.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Yeah,
have you seen the fatality artwork? Richard, have you seen the fatality artwork though?
I haven't, and I would actually love if anyone's got fatalities or brutalities I don't want.
Is that an ultra rare?
I think fatality was an ultra rare. Yeah, hold on.
I've still got my two. I've got my 2-player starter deck I need to open. Hi Mitchell, I'm sorry that you missed the stream.
Fatality and ultra rare, and
look at that.
Nice.
Brutality is also an ultra rare. Yeah.
Look. So you missed the stream, Mitchell. It'll be up on YouTube tomorrow, and one of the benefits of going checking this out on YouTube is that we are giving away the Parcy and Beau star decks. And if you go watch it on YouTube and you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment the password, then you can get yourself a Parcy or Beau starter deck. I'll give one away each to anyone who can tell me what the password is. The password's obvious. It's always the password. And Critical Role fans will be. If you don't know the password, just ask a Critical Role fan what the password is, and they'll be able to tell you what the password is. Again, thank you to Richard for the last 18 months. Well, even not even that, like 22 months of putting up with me.
So obviously, thanks to everyone who's been watching for the last 2 years. It's been a ride, and I mean, I'll definitely see you all around the Universus community. I'm not going anywhere from that perspective. I just, not doing content creation.
He's just a lot less accountable for his actions now.
Exactly. I can now just come into chat and troll rather than actually being part of it.
And big thanks to Cameron for stepping up and filling in for Richard. He'll be around for as long as we need him. I don't know if he wants to make this a permanent thing. I'd love it for him to be a permanent thing, but if anyone else is also interested in hosting, do let me know. But it's great to have Cameron here, and as I said, we're going to have a lot more retro talk, and who knows where the direction of the channel will go, because Richard, behind the scenes, Richard has reined in a lot of my crazier ideas. It's whether or not Cameron is going to have that same, no, you can't do that, it's a bad idea.
The way I see it, I'm a visiting guest filling in until someone decides that they need to kick the Yankee off and step in to make it a true UK versus podcast again. So I'm just here to have fun and fill the gap for a while. See where this goes.
That is a dangerous one to have. You are an equal and welcomed partner in this, Cameron. So if you've got any suggestions, do let me know as well. But with 2025 being the year retro, I'm sure we can come up with some great retro stuff. It is now 11:15. I'm going to head to bed. Cameron have yourself a nice evening, and Richard, I'll hopefully see you at regionals.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll see you all at regionals, and for the last time, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Click like, comment, subscribe, and I won't catch you on the next one, but these guys will. Much love.
We'll be back
See you next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next Sunday, and we'll try and sort something out for myself and Cameron to do in the first one, and maybe have a little bit of a redesign as well. Catch you all back next time.